Hello, my name is Nikki, and I'm about to show you how to create maps for fantasy books or fantasy fan art or whatever you may have. We're gonna start with the base, and I strongly suggest to do a big paper, A4 at least, in case you ever want to print it out or whatnot. And it's always a good idea to do it horizontally. Let me just check my audio settings in here. Hope everything is good. So I'm gonna start by creating the base, which is a base layer different than the background. I'm gonna just put the background on a different color so you see exactly what we're doing. This is gonna be a temporary color, so we're gonna remove it later, but just so we see. Yeah. Another thing is make sure you're doing the RGB color, and yeah, don't merge. And now I'm gonna lock my layer. So the base layer is basically your shape of the map itself. So where is land, where is sea, and you're gonna paint in white, and in here you decide the overall shape of your map. I'm gonna just roughly sketch it like this. It doesn't matter what brush you use, there are plenty of good brushes, but ideally in here you're gonna want to have a really nice shape, sharp shape, that is gonna show you all the features of the map if you had islands and whatnot, and it's good to be quite sharp in here. You're gonna polish this throughout all the tutorial, so don't worry right now. Just get the overall shape. You can delete at this stage where you'd like to have some rivers, estuaries, and gulfs or whatever you want to add in, and then we're gonna apply a couple of layer styles to it so we enhance the outline. Okay, so let's say this is the shape we like, and right now we need to go to setting up the stroke. 3, probably 2 is okay. Yeah, in here it didn't work because I'm using the delete brush is not gonna work. So I mean it does work, but you'll have to press, and it's not as accurate as you would just bring in your lasso tool or whatever, roughly select it and then delete, and then again go back with the brush and add the features you wanted. So it's not a straight line, it's more of a natural formation of rocks and terrain. Yeah, this will do. Now I can go back to white background on my main layer, on the base layer, sorry, on the background layer, and lock it. And to add a bit of more interest to the shape, I'm gonna create a fill layer, which is gonna be a tint, and I'm gonna try and simulate parchment. And this is gonna be something at 10% maybe, no, maybe more, 20%, something like that. And one other thing I like to do is create a layer where I just put some dirt in, be it by brushes or textures you're gonna find on your own, or take pictures or fish from the internet, whatever you prefer. These are free brushes that I'm finding online, so feel free to check them. I'm gonna link them in the description. I'm gonna list them in the description. And it's also a good idea to have the delete brush a similar brush, so it adds a bit more interesting shapes. Yeah, and now I'm gonna put this as a multiply layer and have it like this. I really don't like this pattern, it's horrible. That pattern was really boring in there and repetitive, so yeah, we can leave it like this for now. It seems almost like it's a stain on the paper, which I like. You can play with it as you want. Another trick I use is just to add a gradient map with some colors like these or these ones, which I quite fancy. can play around with the shape and see what it does. Or you can experiment with your own shapes and colors, as long as you is going towards what you had in mind. And now that I have this, I can really see exactly where my mistakes are. I'm gonna take off the tint, not the tint, I can leave the tint. I can take off the grunge effect and only leave the base, so you can see, hopefully you can make up the difference in the color. And that's because I didn't paint fully white, and now I'm gonna have to do just that. Yeah, again I have to be white. Yeah, now they disappear. So make sure you creating your own full white map. You can have some bleeding at the edges, like, so it's not that sharp line. It's up to you, actually, whatever you prefer. But I do like to have a bit of dirt feel to the edges. Maybe this brush is overused. Now it's too repetitive, but you can easily tweak that later on by simply going in with a smaller brush and carefully painting out the shapes you don't want. It's a long procedure, but it's good to pay attention to whatever element you add into your map at this stage, rather than go too far away and then not really knowing exactly what you need to tweak. Probably the islands are way too small and too repetitive, so I'm gonna have to jump in with a different brush. Again, you can create your own brushes, download, or experiment with whatever you have. And I strongly recommend, if I haven't said it or you hadn't assumed it, that it's good to have a tablet. You cannot do these sort of things easily with the mouse use, so it's always good to have a tablet and know how to move around in Photoshop. Yeah, I'm not gonna spend too much time on painting these out, so I'm only gonna go into the edge and the stroke, and probably I'm gonna leave it at 4. Yeah, something like that. I really don't like this shape, but you can spend ages on it and never get it right. You'll see later on that the details come in as soon as you add more elements inside as well as outside. So for now it's only the rough shape that it's gonna resemble the terrain. So again, in here we have sea and here we have land in my case, but you can do the other way around if you wanted. What other thing I'd like to do once I have my shape completed like this, it's always a good idea to jump in and duplicate it and do the invert stroke, which is stroke inside, and have it at 2, 3, whatever works for you. This will underline exactly where you haven't painted on white. So you'll have to be careful, because if you don't see it in here, I do see it, but probably in the video you do not see it. If I select, well, actually selects everything, but this one is actually showing you exactly where you need to paint out and where you still have some gray values, not white. And with this I can leave it at something like that for now, and then add my grunge in. Probably is way too much now. I'm gonna leave it half the way. Yeah, and then what I like to do, let's just call this color replace, because it's basically replacing some of your tones. Yeah, it's actually working better this way, so a bit more contrasty. Yeah, what I like to do is add curves in and contrast it a bit, and once I'm happy with this, I can probably add in a new layer of disturbance and patterns. But to do that, I already had set up an image, which is basically, I don't know if you see it, it's just dust, simply dust, black and white, dust as a pattern, and then I'm gonna multiply it, and it's adding a bit of an extra layer of credibility to the old feeling and the parchment. Maybe it's too much, or maybe you prefer it even more, I don't know, but yeah, you see what it's doing. It's up to you how you like to have it. Yeah, I hope you like this process. I hope it helps you somehow, and I'm going to try to improve it. If you have any suggestions, let me know. I'm learning as I go, so yeah, until the next time.